This is So What, Who Cares? With Laura McCarville and me, Jeff Kolaski. Join us as we explore practical insights for an impractical mind.
Okay.
So I have a question for all of our viewers, our listeners.
Okay, what is that?
Why haven't they rated and reviewed our podcast yet?
Because they also have the thing that we both have, that archetype, don't tell me what to do. Because if you're listening to this, they might also be like us and be like, you can't tell me what to do. So then do we say don't rate?
I don't really want anyone to review this.
Don't rate us. Then the reality is we on algorithms and all those things. Yeah. And yet here we are making something, and how it gets out into the ether, which is a really important
step. Let's try shame. Do you hate us?
No.
Do you? I feel like you hate me.
Yeah. Is that shaming or guilt?
Yeah, well,
through the RRT lens, guilt is wishing it was better for them. Shame is wishing it was better for you. I'll say it again because I think it's when I heard this, it was really powerful.
Yeah.
Guilt is wishing it was better for them. Shame is wishing it was better for you.
Yeah. Well, then guilt. Because we want them to feel like they're not doing something for us.
That's right.
And,
Are you feeling guilty?
You should be. Just joking.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. Do you know we're hardwired for shame?
Hardwired for shame.
It's one of those hardwired emotions. And it's part of survival. So
wishing it was better for me.
The shame is like communal belonging. So shame is used in the way of like stay in the group. And so we're hardwired. So we'll always be able to access that sense of shame. It's just how we work with it, to what degree, and what we believe about the story it's telling. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
So I could feel shame even if I was born by myself in the wilderness or whatever, just woke up and whatever. It would be like hardwired into me as a person. It doesn't come from my
religion, nurture. Yeah. No, it comes to us as an evolutionary, as an evolution survival thing, right? So it will be there. It's just to the extent and if it's driving the bus, because it is one of those hot potato emotions. Like when we feel shame, we want to pass it off really fast. It's like an isolating one. It's really, really a shadow. It's a difficult, when people are really burdened with shame, it's like, it's hard. It's a hard one because typically it is something really that someone went through that brings it up, Yeah. And so if we don't want to feel it, we turn to a lot of like maladaptive behaviors, addictions and sideways behaviors, or we put it off on someone else. That's that hot potato thing.
Hot potato.
You feel it. It's your fault.
Have some of my shame. Yeah. You have some of my shame.
Right. Everybody gets some of my shame.
Thanks, Oprah.
Yeah.
Just joking.
So that's not what we're doing today.
Nope. What are we talking about today? You want to know what my notes are for today?
Yes.
My notes are a blank piece of paper.
Good.
And a red pen.
Ooh, red.
Yeah.
You don't have any like school stuff, memories of red pens marking up your stuff?
I love different colored pens.
Oh, how about the one that you push?
Yes.
Remember that
you slide down the little click
the
thing,
different click.
And you always try to do more than one at once. And it never worked.
Yeah, it gets jammed.
It gets jammed.
Right?
Yeah, you gotta click it.
And you unscrew it and it's got like,
and then if you unscrew it, you can write with all the colors at once.
Yes. Okay, so what we're doing today, I don't want it to like disappear on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to start all of this like stuff we've been doing around the mindfulness and the emotions and the sensations and the shadow and basically the entire podcast, we keep alluding to like the community thing is what we're moving into, because navel gazing, if we're just looking inward to the
Navel
point,
gazing.
navel gazing, if we get stuck in navel gazing, like hyper individuality, it's all
Navel,
about me. It's all about me looking inward.
like my belly button,
Yeah.
not navel like ships on water.
No, navel like belly button,
Gotcha.
like looking inward.
Looking inward.
We
Okay.
get so caught in, and our culture perpetuates it, this like hyper individuality, this it's a you problem and you need to be fixed. And
Yep.
we
Independence has such a powerful undertone in our community.
yeah, right, in the overculture. So then we go, okay, so we're not doing this to stay focused on only the me. It's so that all of this leaks into our homes and our neighborhoods, our communities, local and global. Like, it's so that we understand that we're part of connection and community. So, with that being said, you and I've talked a lot about values, and my friend, who is a sociologist, said community is shared values. She said that to me once, because in the yoga world, community gets thrown around a lot, like the yoga community, and I think probably in a lot of things, like maybe if people go to church, there's like your community, or there's a lot of that language. Baseball moms, I have a lot of baseball mom friends, and they've got their yoga moms, or their baseball moms, and that's like the community. Okay, so but what does that mean? Because what I found is, not that long ago, I was like, wait, I don't think we have some shared values here, Um, so I thought today we could do this core values discovery worksheet together.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So that's why I have the device. I don't care to have this device around, but it has a list of things. So
Yeah.
and anyone, our viewers and listeners, enjoy, follow along, because it gets kind of exciting.
Yay.
Okay.
I'm excited.
So I'm going to list values.
Okay.
And then when you hear one, write it down. And
when I hear,
okay, let me say that better. When you hear one that kind of hits, like, ooh, that one. So we're thinking
that one, as in that applies to me.
Yeah, like if I say joy and you're like, ooh, yes, and then write it down. But if you're like, meh, then don't write it down. But don't hold back. Like maybe even 10 words we're going to write down out of this list.
Yep.
Okay. So here we go.
Here we go.
And I'm going to do the same.
Should I play background music?
Dun, dun, dun. Like
but not that.
Jeopardy. I don't know why that's what came to mind. I don't either. It's so weird.
When you read this, should I play music behind it?
I don't know.
We'll play with it.
Okay, fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear music behind this, then
our producer made that decision.
Our illustrious producer,
who is actually pouring hours and hours into this.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying thank you.
Yeah.
Not that you've never said it, because you definitely have. But
I know, but you're welcome.
I know I have.
But I'm really appreciative of what you're doing. Okay.
Here we go. Cue the music.
Okay. Here we are.
Yep.
Authenticity. Integrity.
Don't go too fast.
I know. Courage. Compassion. Resilience. Gratitude. Curiosity. Creativity. Wisdom. Joy. Freedom. balance, spirituality, growth, mindfulness, trust, loyalty, respect, love, forgiveness, communication, boundaries, accountability, innovation, collaboration, excellence, efficiency, transparency, service, equity, leadership, and then if there's any you want to add on your own. So from this list now, pick the 5 that you feel most essential to who you are or who you are becoming. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So for each value, why is this important to me? Where does it show up in my life? And where do I want it to show up more? So here's like an example.
So you want me to write these things?
No, I think you and I could discuss it
Okay.
if you want to
Sure.
be vulnerable with
Yeah,
it.
why not?
The example is like authenticity is a value and why it matters. I want to live and express the real me without hiding where it shows up, my close friendships and creative work, where I want more of it, my professional presence and leadership roles. That's kind of like the example it
Okay, so
gives.
what were the 3 things again?
Okay, so the questions is why is it important? Where does it show up? And where do I want it to show up more?
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to share one with me?
Sure. Compassion?
Mm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and why is it important to you?
Compassion is important to me because I believe that nobody truly knows what another person is going through or what they have been through or um what kind of chemical concoction they have floating around in their brain that causes certain feelings and reactions and things like that. So to me, I don't want anyone else to judge or view or approach me in a way that's not taking into consideration all of those things, and I can't expect them to know all those things, just like I can't expect to know those things about anyone else.
Mhm.
So
So
for
where
for the sake of or lack of knowing how to articulate this, it's try the best I can to put myself in someone else's shoes so that I can hopefully have a more understanding interaction with them and whatever that may be.
where does it show up?
Every time I talk or interact with someone, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really
Yeah.
in your family.
Yeah.
Like, we really
Oh yeah.
see, yeah, I witness it in your family all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Um, and then where do you want more of it to show up? Where do you want to show it? Like, show it more or show up more?
Inward to
Ah,
myself.
ooh, I
Yeah.
love that. Valid.
I feel like I have an easier time giving it to others than I do giving it to myself,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure is not an uncommon thing in
Mm-mm.
life, in humanity.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks for sharing.
yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
But now it's your turn.
Okay. So, I integrity,
It's one of mine too.
is it?
Yeah.
Why is it important? And it's funny because I feel like sometimes I look at my list and I'm like, oh, part of that, part of the things that are important to me right now are because I've experienced the lack of.
Mm-hmm.
I've had an experience of lack of integrity. And I've lacked integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, why is it important? Probably because of I know what it's like to be on the receiving end
Yeah.
of being in relationship in the world with folks who aren't acting in integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that when I haven't acted in integrity, it carries a lot of shame
Yeah.
and creates a lot of disconnection. And I want to be in this very short life, I want to be in connection with people.
Mm-hmm.
So integrity means like it doesn't, and not in a rigid way of like
Right.
I'm going to say, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm going to speak truth and be honest. And, so I
Mm-hmm.
feel like integrity can be pulled out into a few other
Mm-hmm.
things. Um, and so I can change my mind, meaning,
Yeah. Integrity isn't not changing your mind or
right.
evolving or learning.
Yeah.
Integrity is
It's almost like being more
yeah,
honest.
that's
I'd say it's
absolutely
like
right.
more like
Yeah.
honesty.
And accountability for as well. And
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, that's why I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
It's integrity is if I made a mistake or I made a poor judgment call or something that unintentionally affected someone negatively or something.
Right. And that's so interesting because that kind of flows over to accountability
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
value as well. Um, so where does it show up? I feel like over the overall arching place it's shown up is in relationship with my kids. I feel like with my kids there's been a lot of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that might be easier for me to access now that we're having this conversation because there is a lot of unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I want it to show up more? I think I want it to show up more in this sounds kind of weird, but like in my alone time. Like, is scrolling in integrity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it's more in my consumption,
Yeah.
is um like some of my coping, and I'm not like wanting to shame myself into some of my like checking out or coping stuff, but
Right.
are my behaviors when I'm
Mm-hmm.
in my own presence,
Mm-hmm.
are they in integrity?
Right.
Or sometimes there's like sneaky stuff I'll do. And it's not sneaky. It's not like I wouldn't
Yeah.
scroll in front of you, but there's something there that feels as just this tad sneakiness.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Like
Sometimes
maybe I'm
even in
not
my
being true.
relationship with food, it can be kind of like
Sure.
sneaky.
Hmm.
Um, and again, no one's telling me not to have the second bowl of cereal or
Right.
whatever, but there's like, is this an integrity with my essence of like
Hmm.
this place of vitality? And so it's more in like with self.
Yeah. And that for me, I mean, that's written on my page too. It goes back and forth. Like if I'm feeling a little bit of shame or something because of uh, me, let's eating the second bowl of cereal, am I not having integrity with myself that I'm showing by saying that it's a big deal to, or whatever,
Right.
maybe, and maybe it is me to live that kind of, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just,
it's more like a sensation of when
yeah,
I'm out of integrity.
yeah.
I can speak to that. And it's not in particular with like my beloved or people. It's like when I'm out of integrity with me,
Hmm.
that's where I want to really keep my eyes on that.
Hmm.
And that it almost goes back into our conversation around like golden shadow.
Hmm.
Like some of the things where I play small or I don't show up as like full Laura,
Hmm.
like even that can be out of
Oh
integrity.
yeah. That's where I would have answered that. Where do I want it to show more?
Right.
It's in, if you ever had those moments where you're maybe in conversation with somebody and not you choose to either nod your head instead of be like, I don't really, that doesn't really sit with me. Maybe it's for the sake of just not digging into the conversation and not, or maybe at this certain point it's not a big deal or something. Like let's say you're at work and someone starts talking bad about someone else. Instead of saying, I don't really want to be a part of this, you're just like, yeah, and then you move on. And later I might feel like not sure why I went along with that.
Yeah, like that's not in
Yeah.
integrity. Man, I have something to share on that.
Hmm.
It's so interesting. Years ago when I was teaching in California, one of the paraeducators had gotten hurt or something and snowboarding, and I had said to another paraeducator like something like, how is he doing? And she said to me, are you asking because you care, or are you asking because you're being nosy? It was this and I
Hmm.
know that sounds so I was like, I mean the reality is
Bitch.
I know. I was like, but the way it was, she was like, what, there was an integrity question there.
Hmm.
And I have sat, I mean, it's been 25 years since I've taught there. And, but that was like the coolest way, because the
Hmm.
reality is I wasn't asking because I cared. I was kind of being gossipy.
Hmm.
And she called me out on it. Like
Yeah.
and that was in a really a way that I wasn't aware of. I
Yeah.
just so
No,
I'm just passing that along. If
yeah,
someone's, like that's like acting in integrity, like not
agreed.
engaging in conversation that's not
Yeah.
an alignment and it isn't a compassionate lens, right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Hmm.
Okay. So what we do then
Hmm.
is we take these values.
Hmm.
Um so if you're doing this obviously not while driving, but maybe in discussion with a friend or with someone else, um and we start to look at the values through these life areas, kind of like if you imagine these silos like relationships, work and career, health and well-being, your spiritual life, and your personal growth. Um, and we ask the question, am I living these values in these areas? And what might I need to shift? So if I on my paper, those silos, and maybe people have their own ways of kind of breaking down their, but it's relationship, I'll say it again, work, career, health and well-being, spiritual life, and personal growth. And we take these, you know, let's say 5 core values we're working with now.
Yeah.
And we say, like, okay, in my relationships, in my personal relationship, my friendships, is there, do you want to share with me another one of your core
Sure.
values?
Resilience.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, interesting. Your expectations of others also, or your just
Not at all. That
your
one's
own?
completely internal. Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
resilient. Mhm. So it's interesting because, like, if we look at community in the way of shared values,
Mhm.
um, and again, we don't have to have all the values
Yeah.
shared, but then we go, okay, so we want, to be resilient. Like, let's say we're applying this to an organization
Yeah.
and we say, like, here's our core values as this organization or as this group. This is what we're working with towards, is that we have some resiliency.
Mm.
That's an interesting one,
It
isn't
is an
it?
interesting one. Yeah. Because when you were saying that, I looked at the other things on my list: authenticity,
Mhm.
integrity, compassion, and respect. That
Mm.
sounds like something you'd see on the wall of a boardroom. You know what I mean? Like
In how yeah, but
it.
are you actually, right?
Right. Yeah. That's another
But,
thing.
I mean, that's what we were talking about, like, the shadow of an
Yeah.
organization.
Right.
But we have to have core values to move towards something or to sit in conversation with someone who maybe we're not in full agreement with, but
Hmm.
can we find a place where we share common ground?
Hmm.
Um, I like
So the
that.
question is, or the curious conversation is, how that shows up in my relationships, my work or career, health and wellness.
Spiritual
Yeah.
practices, right? Personal growth. And maybe where I'm out of alignment. What does your therapist call it again?
Values consistent.
Values
Yeah.
consistent, which I love that.
Yeah.
But then we go like, well, what are my
Yeah.
values? Right?
Yep.
So if I have values consistent behavior,
Right.
well, what are those values? Or if we go back to, we use that bold, to the breathe, observe, listen, decide,
Mhm.
listen to your values. Well, we have to know if there's a moment here that I'm making a choice, am I making it aligned with, for me, I chose integrity, curiosity, love, freedom. I still have to whittle mine down. Trust, transparency, and joy.
Yeah.
I've got like seven. I got to whittle that down.
I have 10 on my or 11 on my page,
Yeah, I
but
mean, I
I
had a,
highlighted highlight
yeah,
highlighted
I highlighted.
I highlighted 5 of them.
Yeah, I think that's what they kinda ask you to do,
Yeah.
and transparency probably overlaps a bit with
Yeah.
integrity, but
I'm looking at these and, some of them, it's interesting that, resilience was one that I wrote down and then highlight.
highlight.
I don't know
Sure.
what's the right thing, but it's interesting because like I I don't know how I want that to show up or how I want that to.
And that ping that we get is
Yeah.
so curious,
Yeah.
you know?
When you say that, because when you say values, in my opinion, what is important to me for me, right? That's what goes through my head is what is important to me for me to
In this life
in this
or
life.
in
Yeah.
this
And
expression of Jeff.
and to me, for Jeff, it's to have a certain level of resilience. Now, that all that said, compassion is one of the top ones too. So let's have some compassion. And again, we've talked about that.
Mhm.
Um,
And I'm not sure if this values list is, like, flushed out. So if
yeah.
our listeners are like, "I don't
Hold
like this
on.
list,"
Yeah.
well, Google it,
Find another
or
one. Yeah.
whatever. Because there's loads of lists, and
Right.
obviously this list doesn't apply to, like, kids.
Yeah.
There's lists of values I've gone through with kids,
It's not an all inclusive,
completely
fully. Yeah.
different. So maybe we go like, "Huh," which is interesting because if we're looking at community, which is what we wanna talk about on the next
Hmm.
episode, and I want to bring in Bell Hook's work because her definition of love and understanding community is so cool.
Hmm.
Um, but in this way, if we look at community as shared values,
Hmm.
you know, um, then what are we like, that one's an
It's an
resilience,
interesting
right?
one,
Like,
yeah.
huh,
Like,
maybe that's just
maybe that,
something for
yeah,
you that you're, like, stoking inside
yeah.
you, you know?
Because in community, I am looking for those other things. I want
Mhm.
some authenticity. If I can sense inauthentic, probably not going to be real interested in community with you.
Mm.
Integrity, same thing. Kind of
Mhm.
those two are almost synonyms of the same word in a
Mhm.
lot of ways. Compassion. If you're just an
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the
Opposite of
opposite of compassion
compassion.
is, if you're that,
It's hard to collaborate.
yeah, 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 it is.
Yeah.
And respect is the other one. And the other ones I have trust. Yep, that's got to
Mhm.
be somewhat mutual at least. Communication,
Mhm.
equity. If you
Mhm.
don't see equality as a important thing, it's going to be hard for me to really
Mhm.
have
Build
that.
community.
Yeah.
So tell me, when is the time in your life that you experienced community?
Can I ask a follow-up question? Is there a is there a limit to like how many people are involved in that community?
No.
My marriage then?
Mhm.
There's community in my marriage.
Mhm.
Um
I think that maybe in the way of which we'll expand the conversation would
mhm.
be outside of like one-on-one
Okay.
relationship.
Um
Although I think like marriage or relationship or intimate relationships to be value and aligned and
mhm.
ask like, well, this is really important and this is really important
Yeah.
and maybe your values don't align,
Yeah.
that's different and a
Sure.
different conversation. But if we're moving towards like community,
Yeah.
weren't you in a band?
Yeah.
Did you feel some of
Oh
that in your
yeah.
band?
Yeah. I'm just honestly I'm trying to figure out how to word it because I have had friend groups that are, a community that, back in those days, you know, for whatever, there were certain similar things that allowed us to get along enough to where I would consider it a community. Now, a lot of those relationships have either distanced or ended, and a lot of that is a change in values and whatnot. Um, but I have close relationships now, groups of friends and coworkers and things that does feel like a community. Um, but I think maybe where you might be sensing a little bit of hesitation in me to answer this, it's also because I don't really participate in a lot of community relational things. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that and we can you know, online communities and shared interests in the way of like
Mhm.
hobbies even. Like, it's not just
Yeah.
uh, it's a really what we're moving towards and what I want us to start moving towards is as we're doing this like inner stuff and how are we taking it into connection because what's happening in our culture is this like um epidemic if you will of loneliness
Mm,
and because of how society is evolving and has evolved um we have some really interesting ways in which we're not stoking communal behavior or communal connection. Um, there's across the board, there's a lot of rigidity, like a lot of rigid things. So, you're either in or you're out,
yeah.
or you believe this or you don't. So we haven't really done a great job of holding difficult space or working towards something together.
Yeah.
Um,
You and I talked about something before we were recording, but before we really got into I think we were recording, maybe we weren't yet. Where we were likening ourselves to a school of fish and how we fit into that.
Oh, yeah, how you yeah, we were speaking to, like,
Yeah.
like, archetype, I call it,
Yeah.
like, our rebellious archetype.
Yeah. And our need or desire or reaction to things to almost repel community.
Oh,
And
like
there's a big part of me that does that. I don't really want to be friends with my neighbors, you know?
mhm.
And that's not because I think they're bad people, because I don't think they're bad people. And sometimes when it
Especially if you're listening. No,
yeah,
I'm joking.
yeah, they don't listen. No, they might.
You don't know.
But you know, the neighbors that I have met are overall seem like decent people. I don't know them, and I'm not really that interested in getting super close with them.
Mhm.
So anyway, so we gave the example of I have this initial reaction to like group things. So you talked about like hobbies and things like that. I think about the hobbies that I have, and I tend to resist getting close in those circles.
Mhm.
I'm a drummer, but I never wanted to do the thing where you go to the drum store and you talk about drums with other guys or girls, and you go to the seminars and things like that. Not interested.
Are there drumming seminars?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
I ride a motorcycle. I'm going to be as far away from where there's bike rallies as I can be. I've
Yeah.
never been to Sturgis
Mhm.
besides on the off season.
Mhm.
Like I don't care to do that. I don't want to be associated or
Mhm.
stereotyped as that.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's a real powerful one that's written in me. And part of me also, I can look at things like integrity and authenticity, which is on my thing, and go, I'm not that. I'm not the guy who wears the orange and black Harley gear and touts, MAGA and whatever, because that's what I'm afraid is going to be in, you know,
Mhm.
but I ride a Harley Davidson. Well, who cares? Right. You
Well,
drive
I
a
think
Kia doesn't put you in a,
I did have a Jeep, and I will tell you, I
you
got
put the ducks in.
down with the Jeep wave. No, I couldn't do the ducks.
Okay.
I was not
You said down with the Jeep. What?
wave. Did you know
Oh, yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah.
When you
The
drive a
bikers
Jeep,
do
Jeep
it too.
people wave at each other, and I loved the Jeep wave, but I didn't like the duck thing.
Yeah.
But I think this comes back to, like, our need for authenticity
Mhm.
and individuality, and then also the very confusing thing of, like, if you're, geared towards having less social interactions,
Mhm.
if you will, that doesn't mean you don't have communal values
Yeah.
or that you aren't experiencing the communal thing that's also happening in the
Mhm.
overculture, right? So, um, I don't think we have to be like, in all the clubs to
Right.
be part of a community
Right.
or to work towards communal values that are in alignment.
Right.
Um, there's lots of ways that we can participate in community without having to hang out for a long time with
Mhm.
your neighbor.
Right.
Although my dad always said, know who you share a fence line with, which is, his whole
Yeah.
life he spent not wanting to share fence lines with
Yeah.
anybody. And he's
Yeah.
still mad about the one
Uh-huh.
person he shares a fence line with.
Yep.
But his messaging was like, know who you share your fence lines
Yeah.
with. Like,
And I get that.
still know your neighbors, still be in connection, right? So, um, but with that said, I totally get it. I also wear that archetype easily of like, you can't tell me what to do.
Yep. And
And
I
so,
and I'm not interested in looking like you or doing what you do or
yeah,
those things because I'm going to do me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I never been in a family picture where everyone wears the same clothes.
Uh-uh.
Like, I just couldn't.
Uh-uh.
And that's okay because we're like, we want to honor that. That's that
Yeah.
authenticity. That's a value you really
Yeah.
hold,
Uh-huh.
So you be you, and that's a great thing.
Right.
Um, what we'll move towards is like in communal care, in
Mhm.
communal connection, in community, in the way of shared values. I ask because we really are working with like what we're working with in this, again, our overculture
Mhm.
of what is the messaging being sent. And I think if all of this stuff of what we're talking about of peace is, what is the value if we're not in connection,
Mhm.
or if we're so navel gazing that we are isolating ourselves from the
Mhm.
suffering of the world?
Yeah.
So, and you are in we're both in alignment with, that's
Yeah.
the point of all of
Community,
this is
right?
community. Yeah, community.
Community, the
Mm-hmm.
people that are watching
Right,
us.
right. Like that happens, this
So,
online community.
a lot of times I think though community works better when people talk back to us and nobody's doing
Like, share.
like, share, and comment. Yeah. When's the
Yeah.
last time you felt community?
Mm. Yeah, that was a pretty big wake up for me because well, when I was a teacher at Midtown Crossing here in Omaha, a yoga teacher, I felt really strongly connected to that community. And Yoga Rocks a Park, the people who attended, I felt a really strong connection of
Mhm.
community. Like we were working towards something, especially with Yoga Rocks the Park, of belonging. Like you didn't have to look away, be
Mhm.
away. You didn't even have to do the yoga. I had one of my friends
Mhm.
would say, "You throw the best naps," or you just come and take a nap. Like I wanted a space of accessibility and
Mhm.
belonging, and everyone who supported that event also was, the yoga studios, the teachers, the sponsors were all part of that vision. The musicians, that they're all part of a vision. So I would say Yoga Rocks the Park was
Yeah.
probably, during the first term when this now president was elected, I did walk into a yoga studio and thought, um, that I thought like we were all going to yoga and learning the teachings and the yoga dialogue and the understanding of shared values. And I realized like, and maybe it's not happening here.
Mm.
Maybe there's not shared values, and that was really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Not not that there wasn't heartbreak in
Yeah.
with the students I worked with, but I kind of had to pull back and be like, what is community? And
Mhm.
I was brought in, there's a lot of times you're kind of recruited into stuff
Yeah.
and on the guise of community.
Mhm.
Um, I would say then in 2020, protesting was probably the most, in a daily protest, those organized.
Mhm.
And I was out there every morning. And I think because we had shared values and then we also had a shared goal, like a
Mhm.
mission of
Yeah.
why we were there was really important. And we were working towards it. Um, that was a really strong sense of
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Hmm. Mm. I do have, I do have a time that I know I didn't feel it, which is
Mhm.
probably formative to why everything I've gone into has been to build community. And that's when I was younger and went to church. And
Mhm.
my parents were going through a separation, and there was a lot of suffering and sadness. And my mom was tending to her suffering and sadness. And my dad, we were in church, and my dad would leave crying, and because he couldn't like keep it together.
Mhm.
And it was one Sunday morning he left crying, like the grown man crying
Yeah.
sound, and not one of those adults came out. So of course I follow, my little sister follows to take care of him, and not one adult came out. And I remember thinking, like, where the fuck are you people? I can't hold this grown ass man up.
Right.
Like, you're all just still facing
Where's
that
your community?
priest and
Yeah.
not getting out here. And then this kid who was just a year older than me, so I was like a sophomore in high school,
Mhm.
he came out and he grabbed my dad's hand and like held him up because my dad was like collapsed in grief. And he grabbed my dad's hand and held him up and he said, "It's going to be okay, man. It's going to be okay."
Mm.
And I remember thinking, this 16-year-old is who's fucking helping us out here?
Right.
He's doing this and you're still facing that priest. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, from that point forward, I was like, if someone's suffering, if they're crying, if they're like, not in a nosy way, but like, get in people's shit a little bit.
Yeah.
Stop turning your back because you're uncomfortable. We don't know what to do either.
No.
You
And
know?
that's okay to
Right.
say that I don't know what to do.
Right.
But I'm here and we're
Yeah. And of
care
course,
about
they
you.
didn't know it's the 90s. No one's getting divorced. But,
right.
you know, I just knew that it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted from that point forward to be part of community and to build community and
Meaningful
for there to be
community.
like belonging when there is suffering and also belonging when there's joy.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's what we'll go into. It's like, let's look at building community.
Next
Thanks.
time on So What, Who Cares?
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, you bet.
That was fun.
It was fun for me too.